Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show where we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, houses of dragons, and so much more. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is Roxy Stryer. Good afternoon, evening, Roxy.
What year is it, DJ?
What is time? Well, listen, gang, normally we record these live Friday morning. Oh, my God. We record these live Friday morning on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, but we're doing a special Sunday evening edition because we wanted to be on time for House of the Dragon. That's what we're talking about this week. House of the Dragon season finale.
It's so crazy that this is the one time we've decided to do this, DJ, where we were like, we know it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be talking about it. They're going to have some big bang at the end. It's House of the Dragon, of course, it's going to be huge. And the first headline I see when I pull up my phone is like, fans disappointed and ask, is that really finale?
Yeah.
Like, God damn it.
I understand that instinct. And listen, we're going to unpack that this episode. But of course, a little bit of business up top. As always, if you want to watch this show live, if you want to ask questions on our Discord, if you want to check out Patreon exclusive shows like what we're into, you can do that over at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. If you listen to this on iTunes, please give us a 5-star review. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you listen to this on Spotify or you watch this on YouTube, I'm going to start incorporating your comments into the episode. This week's question is going to be, I think, noodle on it. I think it'll be, what did you think about the finale? Ooh, really coming up with the deep thoughts on that one. What did you guys think of the House of the Dragon season
Out of the
finale?
box.
Out of box. Ooh. Also, if you want more stuff that's mostly just me, you can check that out over my personal channel at DJ Talks Trash. I'm doing this one-on-one interview show. The next interview is going to be with Trisha Hirschberger, and that drops the Tuesday that this episode releases. So check that out. Also, the Kickstarter for the Hellbent Complete Edition is finished. We reached our stretch goal. I want to thank everybody that backed that. If you backed it, you'll be seeing messages soon for like your survey and stuff like that. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. But even though we got a lot to talk about with House of the Dragon, or do we? Hold on. I did want to talk about some news because, like I said, we normally record this on Fridays, and there hadn't been, most of the major Comic-Con news had not dropped last time we spoke. So I touched on some of it. I interjected my thoughts on the Doctor Doom news from the Marvel Comic-Con panel, but that was basically it. So now that we're here together, I did want to unpack some of this Comic-Con news. We're going to start with The Boys is getting a new prequel spinoff called Vought Rising. It's going to star Jensen Ackles returning as Soldier Boy and Aya Cash, who will not be Stormfront yet, but is the same character prior to being known as Stormfront, and it is set in the 1950s. Roxy, had you heard about this, and what are your thoughts on it?
Not before Comic-Con, but of course,
Yes.
yeah, I've heard about it because since then, I love Aya Cash. I mean, I like them both a lot, but I'm just a huge Aya Cash fan. And I think that The Boys did an unbelievable job with their first spinoff, Gen V. So it's hard to bet against them. I think these two characters, people were really clamoring, especially for Soldier Boy, for more. They really wanted some kind of thing here. More Soldier Boy, more Soldier Boy. We saw that from fans for the last year. So I think that this is a smart way to do it. I do wonder, though, how many shows merit, like how many prequels or sequels, because it was so interesting, right? When Game of Thrones ended and they immediately were like, here are these 7, and that's a real number, spinoffs that we are doing for Game of Thrones. And it was like, wait, what? Does Game of Thrones merit 7 spinoffs? I guess maybe.
Yeah.
And it's kind of because they're playing catch up, right? They're playing catch up to Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, like all the things that take place. So The Boys, to me, I think it was really cool to have The Boys. And I think it was really cool to have Gen V. And now I'm like, okay, I guess maybe this is really cool too. But like, then are we done? Or what's the deal here?
Yeah, and we also have the Mexico set Boys spinoff. Yeah, and it's funny with, obviously we're talking about House of the Dragon this week. With House of the Dragon, it's like, okay, spinoff, good. And then they announced Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm like, well, House of the Dragons, mostly the royal family, maybe Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the small folks, stuff like that. And then you hear like somebody like George R. R. Martin is like, yeah, there's still 6 others in development. You're like, well, maybe slow down. Maybe that's too many.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that this is on your rundown, DJ, because it's smaller potatoes, but you saw that they announced not only the Dexter prequel, but sequel that he's going to be coming back for?
That seems egregious to me because not only did I think I've seen a chunk of the first season of Dexter, but I do know that the finale was not beloved. And I do know that it got brought back for a revival that did not seem to sit well with people. So it's like, maybe take a hint on this one.
So it's just like, does Dexter, and I love Dexter.
Yeah.
It's the worst finale ever, but I actually even like the revival.
Yeah.
But I'm like, does this merit a prequel and sequel again now? Just now I'm nervous to say out loud that I like a show because I'm scared that studios are going to be like, you like this show? You want more of it? You want to see every character in their own little spin-off series? And it's like, oh, no, I was just saying I like this show.
I like this show. Yeah.
I like this show.
And I think Marvel, I think you hit the nail on the head because it does feel like they're trying to chase the Marvels and the Star Wars. The difference being Marvel has decades of multiple comics of multiple genres, and Star Wars, I always felt like the appeal of Star Wars, or at least maybe more accurately, the appeal to me of Star Wars was this idea that like anything could happen in this galaxy. That ideal doesn't seem to have quite permeated the brand, but that was the feeling I got. When you talk about The Boys, which both you and I really like, we both really like Gen V, but it is one of those, I kind of feel like those are the 2 stories you can tell in this universe without repeating yourself. So I like Jensen Ackles.
50s, I guess, because we're going back.
Yeah, and Jensen Ackles and Aya Cash, who I like both of them. Those are interesting characters. I'm sure there's more to say, but it's like, how is this different? Like, tonally isn't the right term because I don't think Gen V is tonally that different from The Boys, but like from attack pattern, like how is this different than The Boys? Thought bad, these guys bad. It's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I bet this show's going to be good. So it's hard to even complain about it because it's like, I bet they're going to do a really good job with this show. I know I'm going to watch it. I bet I'm going to love it. It's just weird, this trend of, you like this show, we give you prequel, we give you sequel, we give you same time spinoff, and it's like, whoa, okay.
Have you watched any of the bajillion Walking Dead spinoffs?
No,
like the post-show ones.
How crazy is it that I watched The Walking Dead from episode 1 until the finale, and the only person I know other than Josh McCouga who watched every single episode of that show, and the only one I ever saw a single episode was Fear the Walking Dead. I saw one episode because that was before all the spinoffs.
Yes.
My favorite character died at the end of that show, and I was like, I'm out. Yeah. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it.
I've heard through the grapevine you didn't miss out on much. I've heard that like the Daryl Dixon one and the Negan one, whatever. Those ones are actually good, but it is one of those like, did Walking Dead warrant that? Like,
Daryl Dixon now just got picked up for another season too. Like, I think that I'm with you, but I guess in some ways they're like, if it ain't broke, why fix it? They created a whole world, and for Fear the Walking Dead, we went across the country, and I understand like they spend so much time building these universes. They want to play in the universes as much as they can.
Yeah.
I just don't know that bodes very well for the future of television, because if you become a diehard Boys stan, right? And like every year I know that I'm watching Boys, and I'm going to watch Gen V, and then I'm going to watch we don't have a name for this spinoff yet, do we?
Vought Rising.
Vought Rising. Oh, thank you. Vought Rising.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch Vought Rising. Say you're a person who only watches 10 shows a year, which is a lot for most people. That's 3 of them.
Yep. Well, usually, except it seems like they're skipping, like the year Gen V comes out, we don't get a Boys. So like next year.
Is that true?
Yeah, or at least it was last time, and I've heard that we're not getting. Wait, I might have missed. I thought I heard Gen V should be hitting next year, and I thought I heard that we're not getting Boys season 5 until 2026.
Oh, really? Wow.
So, but and so maybe that once we lose the Boys, maybe it'll still be. I think your point still stands that it's still eating up a chunk of.
I think I would rather get a season of The Boys every year until it was done, get Gen V every year until it was done. But there is crossover timeline wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to. Again, we're living in such a golden era of television. If my biggest complaint is too many good shows, spin-offs, then
Yeah.
we're doing okay.
Yeah. So speaking of shows, we've got also at DC, we got the first trailer for the Creature Commandos, which is going to be an animated installment of the James Gunn's DC universe. This is technically the first official takes place in that universe property. Superman is I forget the way he phrases it. Superman's the beginning of it, but Creature Commandos is also there. I don't remember. Anyway, Superman's technically the first one that was intended to be part of this new universe, but Creature Commandos is getting grandfathered in because James Gunn. And Roxy, you watched the trailer. What did you think?
If you showed this to me and it didn't have a name on it and I didn't know who created it, I would be like, oh, James Gunn did that.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a James Gunn thing. Like, it's just so up his alley. I bet it's going to be awesome. It seems like a little bit raunchy, a little bit out there, a little bit Motley Crue, very, very Suicide Squad like. Even with some of the same players. Like, I just think that this is going to be a blast. I don't think that this is, as you know, animation isn't always my game.
Yeah.
I don't think that this is being made for me, but I bet if I put it on, I would enjoy it.
Yeah. I like these characters a lot. I like this group, not necessarily the Creature Commandos, because that name has been applied to a lot of different iterations of the team. But these particular weirdos are some of my favorite weirdos in DC because they're characters that DC is uniquely, just like Marvel has types of characters they're uniquely good at. These types of weirdos are characters DC's uniquely good at. And like you said, it's like, yeah, this is James Gunn's sweet spot. It was a little sobering reminder of like, this is James Gunn's sweet spot. How is he going to do what is Superman going to be like?
Yeah, definitely. This does, but I don't think that this gives me any confidence or lack thereof in confidence moving forward. It has like no weight, no bearing on what the future of DC is. I do think this is a fun little side thing. It's like I said, it's very Suicide Squad-esque, but even more so than that, it's like very Guardians-esque.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the creatures in this, you're like, oh, he's going to be able to make them really pop. I bet this sells a ton of action figures.
Yeah.
I bet that we see a lot of cosplay out of this, like an absolute blast.
We've got an incredible cast. Viola Davis is returning as Amanda Waller. As James Gunn has said, the same actors that are playing characters in animation will play them in live action. To that point, Frank Grillo is playing Rick Fleck Sr., who is also scheduled to show up not only in Peacemaker Season 2, but in Superman. Sean Gunn is playing Weasel and G.I. Robot. Alan Tudyk is playing Dr. Phosphorus. I could just tell by listening to the trailer. David Harbour is playing Frankenstein. Frankenstein is one of my favorite DC characters, and David Harbour is perfect casting for that. So that's super fucking cool. Indira Varma, who you'll know from Game of Thrones, is playing the bride, and Zoe Chow is playing Nina Mazursky. Excited. Looking forward to it. I do like animation. I do like these characters. I think James Gunn is uniquely good at these types of characters. So I'm stoked that they're seeing the light of day. Would love to see a live action Frankenstein show up in one of these properties. Let's see if we can make it happen. Last bit of news. I am planning on possibly having us do a full episode on this with a guest. And I did touch on it last week. But since I touched on it last week, I did want to get your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr. is returning as Dr. Doom. And
I don't actually know what your thoughts really are, DJ, but in my mind all week I've been thinking you do not like this.
It's weird. I don't know that I know enough to like or dislike it. Is Robert Downey Jr. my first pick for Doom? No. Does this feel a little desperate to me on Marvel's part? Yes. So I keep
seeing that word over and over again. Everybody desperate. Can you elaborate?
I think the Marvels was the lowest box office they've ever gotten in a movie. They've had a string of box office. I think like failures is a strong word, but like not for them, not great. And so there's been a sense of, and we've heard a lot of news behind the scenes of beyond the Jonathan Major stuff, which is, of course, this is the most direct reaction to that because now Kang is pretty much officially out. That there's been a lot of behind the scenes drama, a sense of retooling, desperately needing to like right the ship. And see why they would think this is the call, dumping bucket loads of money at Robert Downey Jr. We had one comment. People were not happy that I suggested that maybe Robert Downey Jr. was not the right call for Doom. And somebody was like, oh, he doesn't need the money. He's doing this for fun. I'm like, my dude, he's making so much money that it's making headlines for this. So, but
imagine, just honestly for a second, DJ, imagine signing on to movies where for 2 movies you're making more than $80 million.
Yeah, the fact that the headline is he's making more
than
plus like private jet travel and a whole security detail and like a compound on set or something.
If I were him, I would have said yes too, 100%.
Yeah, I'm not saying, and it's not that Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have range. He's not a talented actor. I just don't know that it plays to his strengths, and it also plays into the thing. I feel like Marvel's lost the plot, like with the idea that we're introducing the Fantastic Four in an alternate universe. And now our Doom this isn't going to be our main Doom. Like it's not like Robert Downey Jr. signing on for another
why do you
decade.
think that?
Because that would be bad. That would be a bad decision. And I just don't see Doom should be like a main through line moving forward. That's how important Doom is to Marvel. And there's no way we're paying Robert Downey Jr. showing up for 2 movies, not for another 10 years. I seriously doubt that.
Those 2 movies, what? The second one takes place in what year?
What did they've moved it now? I think it's like 2026, maybe 2027.
I thought it was 2027 or 2028, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
It's a long time. Like, yeah. Okay. So my initial instinct on this, when I heard this announcement, I was like, "Oh my god, it's so fun! I'm obsessed with this.
Yeah,
an absolute blast. Love this. Love Robert Downey Jr. Love that the Russo brothers are back, which you and I discussed already. Is what I thought that they should do. Can't wait to see them team together. As an actor, what a fun exercise! Mm-hmm. Like I would love to play the biggest hero and the biggest villain in the same universe. That would be like a dream come true. We know that he doesn't phone things in. He really gives 110% of himself. I can't wait to watch him transform. I think he's, as a human being too, the transformation of Robert Downey Jr. is just such a cool story. So I was like, for all the reasons, I'm so excited about this. And then everybody was so not happy. Like everybody I talked to was like, this is the worst call. Yeah. This sucks. I hate this. From a plethora of reasons, all the way from like, Doom shouldn't be white. And that's fucked up, to Doom shouldn't be somebody who's a big A-list celebrity. They should give somebody smaller a chance, to Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man is perfect as Iron Man and he just doesn't fit as Doom. There's so many different people speaking different reasons. I think a lot of those reasons are valid. And it made me lose a little bit of my excitement to just see how many people were not excited. Yeah. And I'm starting to think about the discourse around these movies, and it's all going to be about him and like whether he did or didn't. And it was just a bummer, because in my little bubble, I was so happy and excited and just like looking forward to this. And then I went to the real world, and then it always strips you down from things that you look forward to, because people just shout at you if you like something and shout at you if you don't. No. So it kind of was like, if you'd asked me right after, if you and I had been in a room together, I hadn't seen your reaction, it happened, you were like, how do you feel? I'd be like, this is amazing. And now I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't care. I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. Whatever. Yeah. I'm sorry you got ripped from your bubble. But I do think that's been another critique as well, is that now, instead of being like, hey, we're all excited for Doom, it's like, it's going to be the Robert Downey Jr. of it all. And I think another the closest comparison I could think of is like, guys, I know you've been waiting for Doc Ock to show up in the MCU, our official Doc Ock, our official guy. First time he's going to show up. Guess what? It's going to be Tom Holland. And you're like, fucking why? Like, fucking, you loved him. There's a story where Doc Ock's Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, but that's not how you're going to introduce Doc Ock to your universe. Why would you just do Doc Ock? Like, why are we making all these hoops for ourselves? Why are we making it so complicated? I am curious what they're going to do. Like, because a lot of people have the same theory that you do, that he's not our main Doom. Yeah. But then, like, that it is relevant to the 1960s, and whatever happens there is why the Fantastic Four ultimately couldn't have been with us, and yada, yada. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I will just give you the one argument I've heard that I'm like, all right, maybe. And the argument I've heard is that Doom wearing the mask and you not seeing Doom's face is actually really important to the character. And because no actor wants to sign on to a role where you don't see their face, they always come up with an excuse where you see Doom's face. Maybe, since Robert Downey Jr. not only has a famous face, but a face that is famous within this universe, maybe that'll be the out for never showing his face. And I'm like,
but
you
then
know
is
what?
it even going to be him under the mask?
And that goes back to your point where even if it's great, it's still going to be all about Robert Downey Jr. And it's like I just feel like it was the wrong call. I feel like it feels like a very like upper echelon production call of like, maybe we can just dump buckets of money at this problem and it'll go away. And it's like, I kind of don't think so.
It is wild how many buckets of money they do have.
Still.
Yeah, you were talking about the bad tear, but obviously they've had very recent success, huge success recently, but then not great success prior to that, but then unbelievable success prior to that.
Yeah.
So it is crazy. Like when it just gives me such little trust in any studio when they're like, sorry, we have no money. And it's like,
for real.
What do you mean
Listen,
money?
we can't give. We're too busy giving over $80 million to Robert Downey Jr. We can't pay healthcare for these other actors. What are you talking about?
The craziest part about that sentence is not just the over $80 million for Robert Downey Jr., but so we know that the Russo brothers are making $80 million across the two movies.
Yeah.
And that they said Robert Downey Jr. is making more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's $160 million minimum.
Yeah.
For these two movies. Like that's such a huge, that's going to be half the budget of one of the movies.
Yes.
So a quarter of these two movies is going to the Russos and Robert Downey Jr.
Can you imagine if it doesn't do well? Can you imagine if it doesn't do well? It'll be interesting to see whether this works. You know what I mean? Because reactions have been divided. But it could, Robert Downey Jr. has the juice. You know what I mean? You could make the argument that maybe people are excited to see Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. And so by having him be another character, it might create audience confusion. But audience confusion didn't seem to deter Deadpool and Wolverine. And I felt like that had a pretty big ask of its audience. So like, who knows? It could still.
Or Batman.
Batman.
Didn't deter the Batman like people are talking about how we.
Yeah, but the Batman's a reboot, so that's like you're starting. It's not. No,
but we're about to have a different Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Brave and the Bold. Yeah. But it's not like. Anyway, we'll see. The point is, we'll see. We got time to see, but you know what? We won't. We've already seen is the finale for House of the Dragon season 2. This is season 2, episode 8. The Queen Who Ever Was. I thought it was The Queen That Never Was. It must be a play, the opposite of what I thought it was. The Queen Whoever Was, according to IMDb. As Aemond becomes more volatile, Larys plots an escape while Rhaenyra looks to press her advantage. So, we've been covering House of the Dragon. We did a previous episode. We've been covering it on Patreon. We did, however, not, just because of scheduling, did not cover the episode 7, the one right before this. So, coming into this episode, Rhaenyra was trying to get... She has 3 dragons that do not have riders. We'd ended an episode with Addam of Hull had been found by one of the dragons. And so I don't have the character's name. The Whisper Lady, the lady that was at King's Landing, is now making out with Rhaenyra.
I don't know it either. I was almost there.
I was almost there. Sorry.
Like I want to say Maleficent.
It's so crazy that I have so many characters in my notes here, but it's all Mysaria. She, being pretty dialed in, is immediately like, "Oh, bastards! That's what this is. Don't go down like 50 rows deep into bloodlines. That's not going to cut it. You need bastards." So they pull in a bunch of bastards, and we've been following 2 of them so far, Hugh and Ulf, and they get dragons. A bunch of other people get roasted, but Hugh and Ulf get dragons. So before we dive into this episode, Roxy, what did you think about the previous episode and our mini army of bastards?
Yeah, I'm bummed that you and I didn't get a chance to really talk about it because I thought the penultimate episode was brilliant.
It was real good. It was real good.
It was so good. My favorite part of this show be the dragons.
Yeah.
And so this episode was like, oh yeah, dragons are king.
Yeah.
Rest of you morons.
Yeah.
But it was interesting also to see the discourse around this afterwards, where I'm sitting thinking, wow, I think that Rhaenyra did what she had to do. It's like going forward, this is probably going to save so many lives
Yeah.
because she needed to get riders on those dragons. And I love the let's build an army of bastards.
Yeah.
It just, even though I myself am not a bastard, I think that we can all resonate with feeling like the underdog, overlooked, like you're not born as one of the elites, and you just, if they're in a world of have and have nots, the bastards are have nots. And most of us listening to this right now, or you and I, we're have nots.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think, a really cool storyline. So I'm sitting here feeling like team black, team black, team black. And I was surprised to see the online discourse, which had flipped a lot of people from team black to team green because of what Rhaenyra had done.
That's wild to me. If I were to give Rhaenyra notes, because I think she did the right thing, but if I were to give notes, I was like, maybe don't start with the biggest one, and maybe don't have everybody in the room together. Maybe put them in one at a time.
Maybe one at a time. One at a time. Like, she's like, who's up? And I agree. It's not like no notes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she handled it perfectly, but I do think that she really is a leader. And a lot of people said that this was her really like feeding into religion more than anything.
Interesting.
And I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So I know that we keep referring to the gods, the dragons are the gods and what they choose. And I don't know, that's not striking me as religious as much as real.
Yeah.
Like, if we had dragons on our planet, they also would be the gods of our planet. It's not, I don't think we're saying they are God.
Yeah.
They're all powerful.
Yeah.
They're all knowing. They pick you.
Yeah.
So I don't look at her as some religious zealot who is now like, I don't care who dies, get on your dragon back.
Yeah.
But so I felt differently than some people on the internet. Of course, some people are still with us, Team Black.
Yeah.
But I loved this episode. I loved following the two people's story. Tell me their names one more time,
Hugh
DJ.
and Ulf.
Hugh and Ulf.
Hugh is the cool one. Ulf is the not as cool one.
Hugh getting that dragon, when he stands there and I was like, you are the man, bro.
I love Hugh. I love Hugh too much. I feel like they're going to punish me for liking Hugh, but I like Hugh a lot.
He is the man.
Yeah.
Like, even I love getting Hugh's little backstory at home too.
Yeah.
I was like, I hope this guy gets a dragon. You know he's gonna, because otherwise why'd we spend time with him?
Yeah.
When he does get the dragon in this moment, exactly, DJ, you know it. I'm looking at him like, you know it's gonna be Hugh. And when he is able to accomplish this, I was just feeling like this show made me care about this man in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Couldn't care about Ulf less.
Ulf. Here's the thing. Ulf is a loser. I do kind of love Ulf. I have a soft spot for lovable losers. I like when Ulf bumblefucks his way into getting a dragon. And by the way, his dragon looks sick. Like, his dragon is dope looking, which is kind of a bummer that he gets such a cool looking one, but whatever. He's hard to like, but I got a soft spot for Ulf. He's going to be a problem. He's either going to be the like come from behind and end up being fantastic. We all love him. He grows as a person, or he's going to be a problem. One of those two. But I do have
in that episode that we see today, we start to see might be a wee bit of a problem.
Ulf's kind of, they couldn't all be winners. Listen, we got Addam, who was the one that Sea Smoke found. We got Hugh.
I love Addam.
Adam's great. You know, Jace is all pissy about getting bastards to be dragon riders. You have to have somebody there that kind of proves his point. Like, well, Ulf kind of sucks.
Well, I do actually feel, what's her son's name? Jace?
Jace, yeah.
Jace with a J?
Jacy, yes.
I'm telling you, DJ, on everything, I've never heard that name in my life.
That's fine. I think it's short for Jaceres, but you know.
I watch this show and I watch it not second screening.
Yeah.
I don't look away.
Yeah.
I cannot get these people's names to save my life.
I get it.
Okay.
You're not going to get any heat from me. I get it.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am obsessed with this show. I know everything about it. And then people will be like, Jace. And I'm like, who's Jace?
Yeah, who's that?
Anyway, I actually really like what they did with Jace here, because maybe not everybody feels this way, but I really felt where he was coming from.
Yeah.
I'm still team bastards, but like, he is a bastard.
Yeah.
And he's fighting against having bastards because he thinks it will delegitimize his chance at the throne. And that is like low key probably accurate.
Yeah, Hugh.
And
My wife was telling me about, because Hugh tells his backstory in the previous episode, and it's like he is Rhaenyra's cousin. He is the son of the former king and Daemon's sister. And it's like, Jace isn't wrong. Jace isn't wrong.
no, he's not. However, my dude, this isn't about you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for you. And that's the journey that Damon's on right now. That's the journey that Aegon is on right now. That's the journey that Alicent is on right now. And Jace is on that journey as well. Bitch, this isn't about you. Just because you've been raised with a silver spoon and you're a royal and you have a dragon and you can speak the language that the commoners cannot.
Yeah.
This still is not about you.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the through line of this season. And I dig that. I dig that. I feel like they didn't make us hate his character.
No.
Because there was a way that they could have. And I still was like, Jace, you're not right here, but you're not wrong. And I hear you.
That's the thing, is it's hard for me to ever be anything but Team Black, because the majority of Team Black is like, they're clearly our protagonists. They're likable, even they're flawed. You know what I mean? Like, again, like, you know, maybe Rhaenyra could have done the dragon bit differently, but also, how else are we going to get our cool bastard dragon riders? And also, you know,
and she didn't force them. She didn't force them.
She was pretty upfront. Like, by the way, odds of survival aren't great. And you know, the show did that. I know exactly why the show did that. It's because, like, we don't want to have to keep up with all these other bastards. If most of these bastards don't burn, audiences are going to be like, but what are they up to now? We don't need that. So let's just burn them. Let's get them out of here.
Can we take a second to remind me the rules of dragons? So there can only be one rider per time until that rider dies, and then they can. What'd you say?
No, finish your thought. Sorry.
Only one rider time till that rider dies, and then they can take another rider.
I believe so.
And that other rider does not need to be related to that person. I mean, I guess they're all kind of related.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all like either Targaryen or Valyrian.
Because I am curious now, crossing over and getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
But specifically with Aegon.
Yes.
Because he's had a dragon, is he no longer eligible for another dragon?
I think he can. I think he could.
He could. Okay.
I think he could.
Not that he physically could at this point. Yeah. I don't know. But.
Oh my God. Dude, when who was the, God damn it, I can't keep track of the names either. The
Whisperers?
Yeah, the Whisper guy. Do I not have his name in here? God damn it. There's so many characters, everybody.
Brown hair Whisper.
Brown hair Whisper guy. When he's like, hey man, we need to get out of here. So truthfully, he's giving Aegon good advice. And Aegon's like, hey man, my penis blew up. I don't know that I want to live anymore. I'm like, ooh, dude, I get it. Strong argument for maybe not, saying what happens. You know what I mean?
I love that they just straight up told us.
Yeah.
Because, like, we have so many questions. He's like, I don't have a dick anymore. Just so you guys know.
Oh, my God.
But he does get out of there.
He does.
Whisper. And I love the order of scenes. I think that this is something interesting. And I'm sure you feel this way, too, DJ, as a writer, where the way that they reveal things in which order to us is so Larys.
Thank you.
It's so interesting because we see Larys talking to Aegon saying, you should get out of here.
Yeah.
Then we later see Alicent, and so of course we'll get into the Alicent stuff.
Yeah.
But we know what's looming, that Aegon's in danger, but we already know that Alicent is going to be promising something that's not going to be able to happen, because for sure they already planted the seed to us that Aegon's going to peace out, dip set. So it's like really cool to reveal the information in that way so that you're thinking about it. Then we see Aegon dip set and you're like, okay, this is going to be a huge issue for season 3.
Ooh. You know what's interesting? No, I feel like that's jumping ahead. Where should we? Okay, hold on. I got to organize. Yeah. We just watched this episode.
We got to organize.
Got to organize our thoughts. So we ended last episode.
Do you like this? Can you tell me if you liked the episode?
I do. I think so. I think my general thoughts are, I do agree with the idea that it's like, not only is that it, but specifically that's it, because the episode sets up a moment that can't go well, but then does not deliver on that moment. And so it's like that feels like a weird choice. So this feels like the third show we've talked about this year between, I think it was this, The Boys season 4 and The Bear that in hindsight was set up for the next season.
Yes.
But I will say, and nothing against any of those shows, because I like The Boys and I understand why everybody likes The Bear. I just haven't watched this season. I feel like this, even though now in hindsight, like, oh, this was just setting up next season, that doesn't diminish the rest of the season for me. I actually still really liked this season.
I'm with you. I really like the season. I think that Game of Thrones often has a penultimate that kicks the finale's butt.
Yeah.
And
true.
Last week, the penultimate was like, what? And
Yeah.
if they had ended there where it was like, now we've got our army of dragons, and now we see Aemond flying in, and he sees Rhaenyra with all her dragons, that's a finale.
Oh, you're right. That should have been the finale.
But it's not really what this show does. It's not
Yeah.
really what Game of Thrones does, and it's not really what House of the Dragon does. They seem to have like a punch you in the face penultimate, and then the finale is like, and here's some more things to ponder while you wait. And that's what they did here. So I didn't mind this because I still think it's excellently done television. But I am with you where I just feel like, why didn't we end this last week?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's like that is a perfect like stinger. Like we got our team of dragons now, and you're like, oh, I can't wait for next season.
And then this is episode 1 of season 3.
And this would be a really good opening episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But they don't do that, which is weird, but I'm okay with it because at this point I'm just like, I'm judging these episodes of TV not as a finale, just as was a good episode, and I like the episode. I like our character development. Any episode, and we're going to talk about this, I know when we break this down more, any scene with Alicent and Rhaenyra is always going to be my favorite scene. There's something about seeing the two of them together that, like, I can't breathe when they're in the same room. It's so wild. I mean, those two actors are like just out of this world phenomenal.
Totally.
But their tension and the way. Okay, we'll get there.
We'll get there. Before we get there, I wanted to know your thoughts on Daemon, because he has had an interesting journey. That haunted house, that haunted castle he's found himself in, which at some point, if I were him, I'm like, listen, you guys keep talking about how the bed's made of werewolf treats. Can I get another bed? Can I get another room? Can I like get a tent outside of the castle? Can I be anywhere but here, man? This place is fucking me up. But the night that the person that was part of her council that Rhaenyra sent off previous weeks has finally showed up, and almost immediately is like, hey, Daemon, I really think the person that should be running things should have a penis. So maybe just plant that seed. And then not only is Daemon in a different place than he was at the beginning of the season, but he has another vision. And I have mixed feelings on every time the show really leans into, remember, this is a prequel to Game of Thrones. I'm like, maybe take the pedal off the gas on that one. I don't know, but I wanted to know your thoughts. He has this vision, and it clearly is the last thing that changes his perspective. But before we get to that, I do want to know your thoughts on the vision he has.
The Daenerys vision?
Yeah, pretty much hey, by the way, Game of Thrones happens, Daemon, just so you know.
So I guess this entire season for Daemon kind of culminates in that vision. It reminded me, and I know this isn't going to hit for you, DJ, but to the people at home, this season reminded me of the episode of Forks of the Bear, where we watch Cousin. We believe that Cousin has transformed from person A to person B because we watched it. And for this, I feel like we needed an entire season ending in this, I see the future, and it's effing grim if I don't sack up and be there for Rhaenyra, the rightful queen. And I think like watching him with all the other visions that he had throughout, and then having those all kind of be visions of the past, and then having this, I'm going to call it a premonition, I guess, because at this time that's what it would be. I thought that was a really interesting thematic device. However, I still don't get it. And like what's happening here in terms of this owl lady. She has a name too, but I'm gonna call her Owl Lady. What's actually taking place? What is Owl Lady doing? I love where it gets us, and I think that Matt Smith is just Matt Cook. I'm combining him and Olivia. Matt Smith is just so dialed into this character
Mm-hmm.
that watching him watch these things is just wildly cool.
Yeah.
But I do have questions like, can Owl Lady do this to anybody? Can this place do this to anybody? Why is he specifically able to see these things? What are they actually telling us, you know?
So the impression I get is that Owl Lady is an agent of, or at least in league with, the Three-Eyed Raven, who we saw in Game of Thrones, and we get a tease of here. I am not brushed up enough on my Game of Thrones lore to know whether that's the same Three-Eyed Raven or a different, because he has a birthmark that I don't remember the Game of Thrones Three-Eyed Raven having. But again, I'm not like an expert on this stuff. But anyway, and so their goal is to get, they're all working towards this. I just don't know. In some ways, it feels like a crutch the show doesn't need. It's like, hey, we're on board with House of the Dragon. You guys don't need to keep reminding us that Game of Thrones happened. We are on board with the show. We're already sold. We're here. Which isn't to say that I don't like it. It's just an interesting, similar to you, I wonder what the goal here is narratively, beyond getting Daemon back on Team Rhaenyra, which he very confidently is, and I also think can't bode well for him in the future.
Well, going back, instead of the future, just staying with the vision for a second.
Yeah.
The other part of it being that the vision very clearly stops with Dany and the dragon eggs.
Yeah.
However, we watched Game of Thrones. So we know how that goes.
Yeah.
And so this show seems to want us to think, okay, you have to do these things so that Dany can get her dragon eggs because you're just one part of the story.
Yeah.
But as a person who watched Game of Thrones, maybe the vision should have gone further to show, maybe don't let this girl get the dragon eggs. It's gonna end really poorly.
I also wonder, he says something interesting to Rhaenyra. He's like, there's something that's impossible for us to survive, yet we must. And it kind of makes me wonder, and this could be interesting, although it is really playing the long hand here, is if this show culminates with the revelation that, like, by the way, Dany wasn't the last Targaryen. So Dany helped with the whole end of the world shit, went off, but the story's not over. Stay tuned for another Game of Thrones spin. You know, it's like what does that mean? Like, what when you say that? And I know there was also theories that because Game of Thrones ends with Dany being taken off by her dragon, and it's kind of left open ended. It's a little strong because she's clearly dead, but it ends with them telling Bran, like, we still haven't found the dragon or Dany. We don't know where they are. And some people took that like maybe she could be brought back. Maybe there's something. And so I'm wondering if maybe we're using the prequel to seed a stealth sequel, but that's a bold gambit. That's a bold gambit if that's what we're doing.
I think that would be cool. It would be cool. But my favorite part about the storyline is where Daemon does get, because the show had one of two choices.
Yeah.
Either have Daemon oppose Rhaenyra,
yes,
or have Daemon join Rhaenyra.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people thought that Daemon, people who didn't read the book, myself included,
Same.
that Daemon was going to oppose Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
And now we were going to have Daemon fighting for this seat, Rhaenyra fighting for this seat, Aegon fighting for this seat, Aemond fighting for this seat, like just kind of like a Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But this show said, no. He was going to push back as hard as he could until he could not. And that's what he says with his words, which I love. He's like, I would if I could. I tried, but I can't. So I can't. And you've got me. Where do you think that romantically, sorry, love, shipper, ships.
Yeah.
I know it's not everybody's favorite topic, but romantically, where does that leave them considering the kiss that was shared between name and Rhaenyra?
Listen. She's kissed Daemon too. I think there's a way to work this out to everybody's.
Are we doing throuple? Is that what we're doing?
I mean, maybe. Although I will say, I don't think this is controversial. I'm more Team Rhaenyra in Mysaria because they're not blood related. So as great as Matt Smith is, and as much as I actually kind of like Daemon as a character, it's still gross, man. It's still gross.
Here's the problem. Here's the real problem.
Yeah.
I'm the problem.
Yeah.
You want to know why I'm the problem? When we watched the Rhaenyra Mysaria kiss, I was like, yes,
Yeah.
babe. Love it. This is the shit. And yet, then what happened after that was we have this episode.
Yeah.
And what happens in this episode? Damon's like, I'm yours. I'm bending the knee. You are the it girl. And he gets up and their faces are so close to each other.
Dude, yeah, they almost kiss. It's good. It's
And-
really well done.
And me, knowing he's a groomer, knowing they're related, knowing he's a mofo, knowing he tried to sabotage her, I was like, make out.
Yeah.
You gotta make out. Like, what's wrong with me, DJ? I can't help it. When I see them together, I'm like, this is hot. And then I'm like, oh my God, Roxy, what the is wrong with you?
I think part of it is, and obviously Rhaenyra is fantastic as well, and that the actor that plays Rhaenyra is fantastic. Matt Smith is just charisma personified, dude. Like, it's just hard to not like Matt Smith. Even when you're supposed to not like Matt Smith, it's like, let's see how it plays out. I don't know.
I just like wanted his face to be an inch closer.
Yeah.
And just like, if I was in the audience then, I would have cheered. They're so hot.
Yeah.
So it was a weird feeling, but I think it's really cool where he comes to, because we know starting the next season, I really hope that he remains here. We don't fully trust him, but it's like it took us a full season to get here. So now let's see what they can do by each other's sides.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of, there's a lot to go over, and I think we might hit some highlights. Like, I'll just throw this one out right now. Thailand, we've got one of the Lannister brothers. They got the same actor playing two brothers, so I don't quite know which one. But one of the Lannister brothers is over on Essos, which seems like a blast. There's a few characters that are like, let's run to Essos. And they're like, no, we can't. I'm like, are you sure? Because Essos seems way more chill than everything you got going on over here. But he ends up, dude, these sequences are so fucking funny because he ends up getting in a mud fight with a pirate queen. And then the best joke in the episode is she's like, I want you to father my children. And he's like, excuse me. And she's like, I want you to impregnate my wives. And it's like, this is crazy.
So what do you actually make of, because I thought you were going to say the best joke is when she's like, I want you to eat the flesh of your enemy.
That's good too. I like the pirate queen.
I like, it seems like she's sticking around because she's the shit.
Yeah.
And I really like her. And afterwards, I watched what the creators have to say about it. And they were like, we're so happy to have her on board, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, great.
Yeah.
What is happening? What does the wives thing mean?
She wants children. She's got a bunch of wives. So now she just needs seed for the wives.
Is she going to try to have his babies herself too? Or
unclear.
So we're just supposed to think that this is like a whole lesbian colony of goodness where he's going to impregnate all the lesbianists.
That seems to be the setup.
Unreal. I couldn't, and he's looking at her like, what?
Yeah. She picked the one guy who would be the least down for that.
Yes. She was awesome. Really cool. I like that actress and I want to see what she has to do. But it is interesting when we do anything to pull away from our stories. I am like, what's happening here?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because I do think, unlike Game of Thrones, this is the focus of the show is much tighter.
Yes.
So this is one of the many things we've got. I think it's Lady Raina who's like going on a wilderness journey to find a dragon who does not look friendly, by the way. Whatever. But that's you do you. Let's get it
Can we talk about her? I'm confused on what's going on with her right now.
I think she saw signs that there's a wild dragon. She wanted a dragon. She wasn't able to claim a dragon. I think she was supposed to get Vhagar, Aemond's big ass dragon. And
but
so
she's
trying to find her dragon.
And then her sister was like talking to Rhaenyra and was like, yeah, she can't do it again. She could die. She almost didn't make it out. But now she's trying to do that because there's just a wild dragon.
Yes.
Wow.
Unsound. I agree. I don't know about you, Roxy. I love the dragons. I think the fact that the designs are all different is great. I love that we got the bastards on them. If I lived in this world, I'd be like, I'm good. Do you want to try riding a dragon? Nah, I'm good. Honestly, I want to be as far away from them as possible.
Even if I knew for a fact I was a bastard. Even though I was like, I'm definitely a bastard. If they're like, you bastard? Nope.
Yeah. No, I'm good.
My hair? Nope. That's not a bastard.
Yeah. I'm all right. Granted, they haven't seen what we've seen, but having seen what we've seen, I'm like, nah, it's all right.
But they have kind of, because like what they have seen, we haven't even touched on yet is motherfucking Aemond being like, oh, actually, I'm just gonna start burning villages to the ground. F all of you guys.
Yeah. He sucks. He sucks. He's a bad person.
Sucks.
I want to,
but he's not as rational. Not that I ever thought he was rational. Sorry,
Yeah.
he's not as level-headed as I initially thought he was. Like I thought he was really smart, and he was going to be able to outsmart. We kind of talked about this. Like he's not Joffrey. He's
Yeah.
not. But he is such an immature child still that he can't keep it together.
Yeah. Never mind. I was going to look up because he has an interaction with his sister where she starts. That was the craziest part. This was a good little bit from the show. When Damon's having his vision, he sees his niece and she's like, now you know. Then we cut to her and it's like, time out. Was she in the vision? Like, is she aware of what just happened? That's crazy.
So, and we've seen this in Game of Thrones and we've seen this in here. And I'm not fully sure. Like, remember the, what the hell's the woman with the necklace in Game of Thrones? She's got the necklace.
Oh, yeah. It's another M name, I think.
Melisandre?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are going to get so much shit in the comments about the names. And you know what, man? Come on, man. Literally, people confusing the names is a plot point in the show. All right, so cut us some slack.
I don't want to hear it. Yeah. When you're gonna call your characters Aegon, Aemond, Daemon, Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, and Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Don't at me, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, but the point that I'm trying to make is that the rules are not clear to me on what magic is in this place and what isn't, and so I'm not quite clear on the sister. Her name is.
Wait, I do have that in my notes. Hold on.
The sister, who I actually really like.
Helena.
Helena, thank you. Yeah, that's actually an easy one to remember. So that's
a good name. It's a good name.
Helen of Dragons.
Yeah.
Helena, she is. I don't fully understand the scope of her powers, and that's cool because I think we have a lot of room to play here. We know that she has been really collateral damage this season.
Yes.
Because of what happens with her kids from jump. We also know that she has made it very clear she does not intend on using her dragon to fight.
Yeah.
And so I like when a show sets up their characters' hard rules and says, like, these are my boundaries. And then we see other characters try to be like, screw your boundaries.
No.
And what that does to them. So I think it's interesting because we now see Alicent wheeling and dealing with Team Black.
Yeah.
But we kind of see Helena through this vision wheeling and dealing. And is she capable of doing that on purpose? Or is he summoning her? Or is she going to him? Like, how did that happen? And I think we'll explore more of that next season.
Totally. And what I looked up, she says something to Aemond. She says, you're going to die in the God's Eye. And I'm like, what, is that a thing we heard about? And I just now looked it up and all of it was spoiler stuff. So I stopped. So if we've mentioned God's Eye or whatever it is in a previous thing, let me know if it's from the books in the future.
They keep calling the dragons God. So.
Yeah. And I don't know. And there's the God's Wood with the weirwood trees. I don't know. But I don't want to spoil myself. I like taking the show as it comes.
Me too.
Taking stuff as it comes, the episode ends, as you pointed out, with Alicent and Rhaenyra. And I think, like the previous time, it does strain credibility a little bit that this could happen. But as somebody who feels the plight of the showrunners just wanting these two actors in the room together, I'll allow it. Like, who cares? That's whatever. It's a show with dragons and magic. Who cares?
When we see them when Rhaenyra is being a nun and you're like, and she just walked up there and people kind of like, that's silly. Or when Alicent's like, yeah, I got in because my guy laid down his sword or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Sure,
like, I don't care.
Who cares? Yeah.
Like, this is what I live for. So however you have to get them in the same room, whatever rules you have to break, I will follow your whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Because this was so interesting. And the juxtaposition of earlier in this season, Rhaenyra going to Alicent, and now Alicent having to crawl to Rhaenyra and be like, I would have said the first thing she says, something like, I done fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I think I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, what a costly mistake, my girl. But how do you feel about Alicent after this scene? Because Alicent has been on everybody's shit list for so long.
Yeah.
But after the scene, hearing what she wants and hearing what she is supposedly willing to sacrifice, how do you feel about her?
I've always thought Alicent is an interesting character. I've always felt like it is very easy to root for Team Black. I feel like, again, clearly the show wants them to be our protagonists. But that doesn't necessarily mean... We've talked about this. What the list of like likability on Team Green, it's like Alicent's up there. Like I get where she's coming from. She's wrong, I think, but I get it.
Well, she's up there towards the end of the season, but earlier in the season, when we come back and we see her boning Kristen Cole, after what she
gets
did,
called out on that this episode too.
I was waiting for that. I've been waiting for that, but her response to it was fire. Like,
speaking of, not to derail us, but speaking of characters that I kind of like have a new appreciation for, Kristen Cole's got major PTSD going on.
Oh my God. That scene with Alicent's brother, whose name I want to dig in.
Do I have it in my notes? I think it's Sir Gawain.
Gawain. Yeah. Wow, that sounds so familiar, DJ. I would have gotten that eventually.
Sir Gawain Hightower. Yeah.
Hearing like him go to Kristen Cole's head and like what the hell? Kristen Cole's just like tapped.
Yeah.
This is brutal. I mean, life sucks, man.
Yeah. I saw everything the people we were fighting for basically destroy everything in front of us. And I don't know anymore, man. I'm like, you know what? I haven't liked you for a long time, but I do get where you're coming from, my dude.
But we've got to see it change from him in season 4, because we'll come back to Alicent and Rhaenyra. But with Kristen Cole, we can't stay mopey sad boy forever.
True.
And we'll go one of two ways. You either become better or bitter, right? Yeah. And if we watch him have go from having a heel turn to a face turn, and all of a sudden because he does seem to like really love Alicent.
Yes.
When he turns to him and he's like, listen, she saved my life twice. Yeah. She's my guiding light. She's everything to me. I'm like, that is weird, but it is always helpful when somebody loves something.
Yeah, right? These two aren't just fuck buddies. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I don't know how Alicent feels about him, because then when she describes him, she's like, a girl has needs.
Yeah, yes. Like, good point. Very good point.
We're describing each other the same way. And I have a feeling that Kristen Cole's going to get his heart broken, which would be interesting. But I do like the setup for whatever's going to come from Kristen. We're either going to watch him wreak havoc on everybody now, or see him be like, I don't want this and I need to do differently in order to get different results. And I really like introducing this season her brother too. Yeah. Because he's kind of silly, but scary.
Yeah.
And he seems to have his eyes in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Speaking of brothers that we introduce, there's the Aegon and Aemond's other brother.
Yeah, it's mentioned. He definitely going to show up. Stay tuned for season 3. He's definitely going to show up there.
Like, oh, homeboy's going to have a dragon and be chill and stuff. Like, what? Maybe he should be the ruler. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And also, just stopping in, we see that Otto, her dad, is imprisoned by someone.
Yeah. So what is your theory on that? When we saw that, I was like, huh. No, I mean, we've heard the whole season, he's not responding. So you know he's either, we didn't think he was going to be dead because they wouldn't have done that off camera. Yeah. But you know he's like either hammered or like wherever, and we see he's behind bars. What?
Yeah. And I've been led to believe that there's 2 factions we're following, and neither seems to know where he is.
Right.
So it's like, then who then?
Do you believe that it's possible that there is more than Team Black and Team Green?
I could believe that this would be a good opportunity if you're like, hey man, let's maybe not have a Targaryen ruler. While they're at each other's throats, maybe we can make some moves. I don't know who that would be, because it's like, if you think about the families we know, it's like we already kind of know where the Lannisters are, and we know the Starks don't pull that shit.
We know where the High Towers are.
Yeah. So I don't know. What about you?
One of the things that I think that they haven't really explored yet is whatever's happening on these boats. Yeah. Like, we haven't really got, and I'm wondering if that's where he is.
Yeah.
Down there, and like the the people who keep saying that they're Sultan.
The Valyrians, Corlys and his
fam. And I'm like, I don't know, something more to that. Obviously not specifically him, but more like his one bastard son that hates his guts and today gives it to him.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that actor. I love that character. I love that scene.
He's like, do you know what it's like to grow up hungry, you piece of shit?
Yeah.
It's weird though, because I love Corlys.
Yes.
And And he's like very clearly been shown as a really bad dad.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
horrible. I'm like, oh, I loved his wife. I think he's a great hand.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I love him.
Yeah.
And then we learn about him and it's like, this dude's awful.
Yeah.
I don't know how the show convinced me to love him anyway, but like he'd really be abandoning his fatherly duties hardcore.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
This kid's like, I was starving. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
You know what it makes me, not that I needted more to appreciate Ned, but it's like, man, fucking Ned ruled, man. Ned was a good dude.
Ned did totally rule.
Well, John wasn't even his bastard, man. And he stepped up there. God, Ned, I like Ned.
Yeah, I'm with you. John, all the Starks, they did a good job there.
Yeah. I want more Starks next season. Let's bring these Starks. Although, if I were the Starks, I'd be like, nah, I'm staying up here, man. You keep your dragons and your political intrigue. I want to watch the Wall.
I really wonder where he's in prison. Like or did they just make it look like that and something else is going on?
Oh, yeah, I guess maybe. But I'll be interested.
Did he go away and like lock himself somewhere? Because he was like, I just like don't.
What a weird, and we'll get into this more. I do kind of find this finale not bad, but unsatisfying.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely unsatisfying. Last week would have been way more satisfying.
Yeah,
she got a dragon. It's done.
Yeah.
This is like very open-ended. This is saying, here are all the storylines we're going to be covering next season, even with our montage at the end with the in prison.
Yeah.
Aegon's actually gone. We're seeing little bits and pieces, but no, it's not like that. Yes, hell yeah.
Which I would feel better about if I knew next season wasn't going to be like 2 years away, maybe. Like if I knew like next year, same time, same channel, we're going to be back. Like wait times between shows is long now.
Okay, but staying on the Rhaenyra Alicent conversation.
Yes, thank you.
So I loved this scene. I really liked that Alicent came to her. Do you believe when Alicent nods about giving Aegon up? Did you believe that or no?
It makes me think of, did you ever see Pineapple Express?
Yes, of course.
Well, you do this? Uh-huh. Was that a or an uh-huh?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Because it really is. And then I rewound because I was like, because they did shoot that scene very dark. And it's interesting because usually I find that this show shoots dark scenes when they have like a ton of background actors but this scene didn't need to be as dark as it was, but it was really dark. So I was like, wait, did she just nod or was there a noise associated with that? And then the scenes afterwards, they said that she nodded. So I was like, okay, for sure it was a nod.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra's response made me think that she nodded.
But I also think, to your point, like she could nod then and change her mind because it's her son, man.
Like theoretically what's going to happen here is she's going to get home and Aegon's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra is definitely going to think that Alicent sent Aegon away.
Yes. Yep.
So, and maybe Alicent's intention was to do just that.
Maybe.
Like she's found ways to do it throughout the entire season. Like, hey, I got to sneak off.
Can I tell you one of the things that stood out to me in this scene? It was a great scene. Rhaenyra's bodyguards you see when on her shot, you can see him in the background of the door. I would have loved a close up of him at some of this part, being like, wow, this shit's fucking crazy, man.
Crazy.
I can't believe I'm here for this conversation.
I thought it was interesting the times that Alicent decided to turn around because it's like at one point before Rhaenyra says, what did you come here for? It seems like Alicent's about to leave. And I'm like, girl, you came all the way here.
Yeah.
You didn't even talk. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But that's where you can still see her ego still does get in the way. Both of these women, even though they have less ego than the men, they still have some ego.
Mm-hmm.
And even Rhaenyra saying, you know how this works, a son for a son.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can do this. I started thinking to myself, like, is that the only way you can conquer? Like,
to that point, when they're talking about like, all right, this was where I was getting a little off board with Rhaenyra. All right, you guys have 2 days to learn how to ride your dragons, and then I'm going to send you to these towns, and you're going to kill everybody there. And I'm like, rewind a little bit on
that Jace's point in the conversation, though, when he was like, you think you're ready for this?
Yeah.
And I was like, good. Yeah. Like, there is a difference between Jace, a trained dragon rider forever, and these guys who, like, barely can get ground to ground on their dragons yet.
And at that point, when it's like, do you need to burn up those towns, or you just park a dragon at their front gate and be like, by the way, you're Team Black now?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
It'll be
And how many dragons do we actually have? Like, if there's rogue dragons, and then we heard today about some dragons where it's like, oh, that dragon's too young, that dragon's not
Yes.
ready, whatever. And I'm like, I don't actually have a grip anymore on how many dragons
when
are.
they start talking about the dragons Team Green has on layaway, I was like,
Yes.
oh, I'm so sorry. What? How many? Wait, what? Dreamfire,
no
great
sense
name,
of-
by the way.
How long
Yeah.
does layaway take? Like,
Yeah.
are we talking about a year, 2 years, 10 years? Like, what is it?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I'm also wondering, like, all right, Helena doesn't want to ride Dreamfire into combat. Aegon is down a dragon. Is there,
Would Helena have to die to do that, though?
that's a good question. And I also don't know, because they float
Or
this
can
a
you
couple
give
times.
up your dragon?
Yeah, they float this a couple times that maybe the rules that they're governed by don't really matter. So it doesn't feel like they even know. Although I will say, to your point, when we find out early in the season that there's like wild dragons, I'm like, God, what a nightmare. What a fucking nightmare that you could just be like, oh, a dragon moved into this area. It's like, God damn it. Like, I guess we're moving.
What, other than knowing that his dick is burnt off?
Yeah.
What status do you think Aegon is in terms of? Do you think he is capable of even getting on a dragon?
I think he suggests that. I think he even brings that
Yeah.
up. I don't
But
know.
do you
I think he bounce back. I do have a feeling that this isn't going to be, or at least I feel like this is what the show's telegraphing to us. It's like Aemond, not long for this world. And Aegon's gonna like, don't, you know what it might be is like the reason he's running off is like, we can't have a whole season of this kid in recovery suffering. So he's going to go away. Yeah, or he's going to go away. And when he comes back, he's going to have makeup, but he's going to be better.
Well, crazy enough, remember how we saw King Viserys with half a face.
Yep.
And like now he's going to have probably a similar thing to his dad.
Yep.
Which will be wild to see.
Which, by the way, if I saw my dad rot off the throne, I'd be like, I don't know, gang. I don't know that I want this.
I am curious if there will be a full circle moment where Aegon does get a dragon, a dinosaur, Roxy. If Aegon does get a dinosaur dragon, Jesus Christ, forgive me. It's now 10 o'clock at night. And I've been watching this. If he gets his dragon and he's able to attack his brother, and he doesn't, or something happens, because we obviously watched now Helena say, bro, I saw you.
Yeah.
I saw what you did, you mofo. You can't pretend you didn't. I saw you. You came after him. And I think it would be really interesting to see in the reverse situation what could happen. It's hard to imagine because Vhagar is just so much bigger than all of the other dragons.
I have a feeling Vhagar, it's going to be multiple dragons on Vhagar fight. I think we're going to. That leads me to, we have a question from the Discord. Mike Joyce asked, did you like the pace of the season? Would you have wanted to see more battles action? I liked the pace of the season, and I'm, less is more kind of a thing. I don't know how much of the show's budget went to the dragon fight this season, but it was every penny was worth it.
I'm so with you.
Yeah. So if we only get one big old dragon fight next season, fine. That's fine.
I mean, we're calling it one dragon fight, but really, what about watching the dragons burn alive all the people? Like the dragons look so amazing. It's not just the fight. So I love the pacing of the season. I loved watching the dragons just fly.
Yeah.
Like this one thing I never feel when I'm watching the show is like, how come I'm not seeing the dragons?
Mm-hmm.
We are constantly seeing the dragons with whatever they're doing, whether they're in their cave or they're flying about or they're fighting each other or we're watching them like about to burn somebody and then select them, whatever. We are with the dragons a lot. So that's got to be the vast majority of where, so much money's got to be going there. So I'd rather the dragons always look good than like not see the dragons except for 2 episodes when they're fighting.
Yeah. And also, truthfully, in a bit of I think Game of Thrones, as much as, I'm not as critical of the finale as some people, I do agree that it kind of it feels like it got a little too enamored with its big blockbuster battles. So in this show, when they're like cut to after the battle happened, it's like a flashback to OG Game of Thrones. I'm like, perfect, good, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
mostly
I
here for
agree.
two characters in a room talking anyway, so that's cool.
Do you have a favorite character?
There's a lot of really good ones. Props to the show. Do I have a favorite? I like Hugh a lot. Kind of coming
Oh my
out.
God.
Hugh's great.
That's
I do like
crazy.
Daemon, but I like Matt Smith a lot. So I think that's
Yeah.
doing a lot of heavy lifting. Rhaenyra's great. I think Jace is really good. Jace is giving me Jon Snow vibes, like the younger generation, but still cool. Corliss.
Yeah, Jace is cool.
Yeah, there's a lot, even characters that, even Aemond, who's not a character I like as a person, I think is a really interesting character. What about you?
It's hard to say anything other than Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
As much as I don't know, because I'm with you. I like so many, even Jace, whose name 5 seconds ago I didn't know. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorite characters. I love him.
Yeah.
But Rhaenyra, to me, like, this is her show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Rhaenyra show, and she's just is like, as the character is just like crazy intriguing.
Yeah.
I feel like I would bow down.
Leonard Kim asks in the Discord, do you think season 3 will be the final season of House of the Dragon?
I don't, because I think this is a money-making machine.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're going to go much longer. Maybe 4. I hope they don't go longer than that, but they could do 5.
Yeah, I think I've heard, and I don't know whether it's us talking or whatever, or comments, so maybe none of this is valid, but I've heard they're aiming for like 4-ish seasons. And I think that feels right. That feels like a good, but I like that. I do like that we've introducing stuff like the visions and the werewood in this season. It's like, okay, so we're expanding the tapestry a little bit of what we're willing to show in this world. Like just the promise of maybe there is a third faction that has Hightower captive. That's interesting. Dude, that's always an award-winning formula where it's like, you've got these two teams, they're at each other's throat, but wait, they have to team up to fight somebody worse. Ooh!
Unless, what if it's the Whisperer who has Otto?
You mean Laris Clubfoot?
Yes.
I wouldn't put it past him. Oh, dude!
Like if when he knew Otto was leaving, he just snatched him.
Yep. Wouldn't put it past him. Wouldn't put it past him. Speaking of him, because he's a strong. I also like we introduced this season the character that passed the bounce off Daemon the most, Sir Simon Strong, played by Simon Russell Beale. Great, love that actor. Glad he's still around. Good show, dude. It's a good show.
Not an actor that's not good on this show.
Yeah,
There's not an actor.
it's a good show. I'm glad it's a good show. I'm glad you don't have to wait through people complaining about it online all the time. It's a good show, man. Good for Game of Thrones.
It's going to be really hard. Did you say that there's not going to be one next year and it's the year after?
There was a year gap in between season 1 and season 2.
But for season 3, have they said that?
I don't know that they've said that. And in truth, maybe there was a delay because of the strikes. Although I don't know that affects this show because it's British actors. But it's also like, again, like The Boys, there's like a year gap between. It just feels like for every show we love, there's like at least a year gap between seasons, which is just brutal.
But this one's so hard. For The Boys, it's like, okay, there's a few characters and you just got to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so many things. I'm going to have to rewatch the entire season.
When Kristen Cole's like, she saved my life twice, I'm like, oh, when did that happen?
Yeah.
when was that?
And they know that you're like that. And
Yeah.
she's like, one's for here and one's for myself. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember, but I'm sure that's true. I'm sure that's correct.
They know you don't know. I mean, this show spans so many years that we had different actors change out 3 times.
Yep. So
Now,
that's our season finale. Roxy, before we wrap this up, final thoughts on the season 2 finale of House of the Dragon.
I think I preferred season 2 in general to season 1 even, which is really cool. I'm really in on this show. I love the penultimate. I think the finale it has me so intrigued. So in that way, it did its job. And I went from not liking the pilot of this show to feeling like this is one of my favorite shows. It's definitely a top 10 of the year for me.
Yeah.
And I think that they do a really strong job.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm interested to see how everybody's schemes fall apart next season. I love our Bastard Dragon writers. I'm excited to see more of that. And I really like where we've positioned everything moving forward. I'm really excited for season 3. I'm excited for at least the one other Game of Thrones spinoff. I don't know about 6 others, but yeah, I'm still on board for at least one more. especially if it helps me through the year gap between seasons. Yeah, gang, let us know in the comments what you thought of the season 2 finale. If you're listening to this on Spotify or watching on YouTube, I'm going to pull from those comments for next episode.
Woohoo!
Woo! We will be back next week. Like I said, check out my personal channel for a one-on-one discussion I had with Trisha Hirschberger. Later this week, a new episode of Mutant Academy drops. We're covering X-Men, the animated series. A lot of cool and exciting stuff. Also, last week, we dropped an episode of our new show, Slash Pick, where I talk about slasher movies with Addam Lavick. Check that out as well. Bunch of stuff for you to watch. Bunch of stuff for you to check out. Thank you, everybody that supports us on Patreon. And we'll see you all next time.